What's up, guys? Linux Tech here today with episode number 2 of First Time in Linux with Shandell. I'm going to go ahead and get right into the questions. So the first question is, when was your first time using Linux?
First time using Linux was 2002, 2003-ish. And I stopped for a while because I didn't have my own computer. So then I started using it again about 5 years ago, and I've been using it ever since.
Okay, what was your first impressions of it?
Relatively easy to use. I switched over to Red Hat from, I think it was Windows 98, and major difference, like astronomically different, and I managed to pick it up and it was able to get around and like find things and use things within the first 2 to 3 days.
Yeah. Alright. If you're still using Linux, why are you still using it?
I guess, well, freedom, first off. I feel like there's way more you can do with it or not do with it, depending on how you like to use it, than other operating systems. I forgot what I was going to say, but I really do enjoy it a lot, and yeah, it's good.
Yep.
No viruses. There's no viruses, and yeah, it's easy to fix things as long as you got a explorative mind for computer stuff.
Which means you have to read a ton. But, you know.
Yeah, but not all the time, though.
Most of the time, just fiddling around with it can solve the problem. I mean, if you can't figure out how to fix it yourself, then Google is your friend.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, why do you prefer Linux? Well, okay, never mind. I was going to say, why do you prefer Linux over anything else, which you basically answered. So I guess we're going to go ahead and skip to another question. Although you answered that as well, but I guess you can answer it again. Are you happy with Linux?
Yeah, I'm happy with Linux. There are some things that aren't supported or that it can't do yet, but I mean, it's nothing life-breaking. Like, it's not like I'm going to stop using it, because these extra things don't work, because for my everyday use, it does exactly what I need it to do.
Yeah.
It's definitely, I can make it how I want and do what I want with it and not have to worry about pop-ups and permissions all the time and just general frustration. Like when I go to use a Windows computer, which I do occasionally have to, it's really frustrating. First of all, it's slow as heck. Like, really slow. And it's supposed to be on like a quote-unquote gaming computer. And it's really slow. Like, painfully slow. And Linux is super fast on any computer. You can use it on like something that's over 12 years old. And it'll run, depending on what you've got on there, it will run faster than if you had, XP or Windows 7 or something.
It's pretty much guaranteed that Linux will run faster on than Windows on anything you put it on, no matter how old the hardware. Although, depending on unless you're into retro computing, then you're not going to be using something like the original Pentiums that were like they're like 15 years old now, or older than that. But yeah, it's going to run way faster on anything you put it on than Windows will. You can definitely, although Linux is limited in some aspects, but not many.
By limited in some, I mean, like, we should probably clarify. It's like, if you're into music production, there are programs available, but they're not nearly as good as what you would pay for to put on a Windows system or a Mac.
Because
right?
they're not paid programs; they're free programs.
Right, which doesn't necessarily mean they're bad. It just means that in this particular instance of music production, they're not up to par with
something
what
that
you can
costs
get on the
like
market.
$500 and is
Right.
like made
For Windows or for Mac.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what I'm talking about when it comes to that. Like there's Blender, which is a wonderful 3D rendering
Blender.
program, and you can do video or still with it, and it's open source for Linux, and
Yeah,
it's a fantastic program.
A lot of people, like even being like Hollywood studios, I've seen use Blender. Like the people who made the Hobbit movies, they use Blender to make them.
Oh, nice.
The few other movies, God, I forgot. I think it was some type of Disney movie. A few Disney movies that were made with like completely using Blender. But Linux is definitely used like way more than you think it is in the, especially in like the 3D art or creation world, and gaming as well. And like, well, that would fit into the 3D.
It's stable.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, once again, that depends on what you're getting and what you're into. But I mean, if you're, for the most part, I mean, Linux is stable. You don't get blue screens of death. You know, yeah, it's stable and it's secure. It's very secure, and it's actually another program is the GIMP, and that's for art, like image manipulation, and that rivals Photoshop in a couple of ways.
It's actually easier to use than Photoshop.
Oh yeah.
Because
for somebody just starting out, yeah.
I have the latest version of Photoshop and GIMP, and normally I find myself using GIMP a lot more than Photoshop. Although I don't know a ton of stuff, like things in Photoshop, but I know how to do the basics and some advanced. But I mean, GIMP is definitely the way to go, especially for general like image creation or text or basically anything. I mean, if it keeps going, it'll be better than Photoshop and free. So there's no reason. There would be no reason not to use it then.
Right. I've seen some amazing things done with Photoshop, and because I have a close friend of mine uses Photoshop, and so I managed to mimic as close as I could, and sometimes flawlessly, what he can do with Photoshop in the GIMP. And the technique is different. Like, there's obviously, like, the functions are different, and the way it's done is different, but I can still get the same ending result in the GIMP as he did in Photoshop. I just kind of have to adapt to what the GIMP is capable of, but I can still get it done. So it's a really good learning experience for how to pick up different techniques to do different things and get different effects, but still use the GIMP for that instead of Photoshop, so it's really cool.
Yeah. Okay, so last question before we turn this into like a 2-hour video talking about how awesome Linux is. Overall, how has your experience been with Linux?
9 out of 10, and I only say 9 because there are things that aren't yet available or up to par for it. But I mean, as for everyday use, and I mean every day, it's definitely my operating system of choice. And I suppose I should probably mention that I've been using Arch for the past 2 years, Arch Linux for the past 2 years with the awesome window manager. And it's fantastic. It does me well. I've anything that has gone wrong, the very, very few times that anything has gone wrong, I've been able to fix it momentarily. Like, it's just a quick Google search and we're done. And I'm not an advanced user. I'm probably intermediate. Like, I don't know any programming languages. I don't, like, build systems or anything, like build distributions. I don't do anything like that. I'm just your average user that just likes to explore her computer and play around with things to get them to work, and I'm really inquisitive that way. So I'm not super advanced or anything, and yet I'm still using Arch, managed to install it, and I'm using Awesome Window Manager, so it's been a wonderful experience so far. I really enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. But yeah, I guess this is going to be the end of the video, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. And
thanks, y'all.
Yep, thanks a lot for watching the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to leave Shandell's social media in the description. Also, check my channel out. It has a few similar videos, and there's definitely more to come for Linux, as in news, tutorials, reviews, and some gaming and just random fun stuff. So thanks a lot again for watching, and have a great day.